They have been here since the beginning. The Absolvers have stood sentinel over the Gilead system since the days of their first chapter master, Tigranus Dalir, a warrior of renown and unwavering purpose, whose soul burned with conviction as hot as a nova. It was he who swore the first and most binding oath, that the people of Gilead would be protected, not just for a generation or a war, but for all time. A vow eternal, spoken by a transhuman voice before the assembled leaders of an imperial crusade and bound by the iron resolve of a son of Sanguinius. And so it has been. His oath carried forward by the warriors of his blood and his will, the chapter known now as the Absolvers. They have bled across star systems, crushed rebellions beneath ceramite boots, and driven the demonic screaming back into the warp, all to uphold a promise carved into the foundations of the system itself. But beneath this mantle of honor lies something darker. The Absolvers, for all their decorated glory, harbor a secret, ancient, shameful. A flaw buried so deep within the chapter's marrow that even the codicils speak of it only in riddles, and only behind locked vault doors. In the shadowed depths of their fortress, away from the battlefield and the Imperium's gaze, broken aspirants and failed initiates, remnants of what could have been, murmur to themselves in cold stone chambers. They speak in tongues, they scream in silence. They chant incoherent prophecies no mortal mind could fully grasp, and they are watched, always watched, by guardians in blackened armor, their oaths as heavy as the chains that bind the mad. To become an Absolver is to inherit not only glory, but burden. Every oath taken is a link in a chain. Every link binds tighter. Every warrior bears a history of hubris, of fallibility, of a single blinding truth, that even the finest sons of the angel can fall. That within their blood runs something, corrupted. They are not the first to stumble. They will not be the last. The history of the Absolvers cannot be separated from the Gilead system. It was here that the chapter's legacy was forged, and it is here that it may one day be broken. The system itself is a jewel of strategic and material wealth, a chain of worlds bursting with resources, home to billions, positioned like a keystone on the edge of the car segmentum obscurus. But its value has always drawn predators. By the time the 34th millennium dawned, Gilead was drowning in chaos. The Emperor's light had long since failed here, and the stars themselves seemed to scream with madness. The system's worlds were consumed by heresy, their skies alight with demonic storms, their people enslaved or corrupted beyond hope. But the Imperium does not forget, not forever. In time, a crusade was raised. At its head was Juliana Gilead, not yet a saint, but already a living weapon of imperial faith. She gathered to her banner a host the likes of which most worlds would never see again. Navis Imperialis void ships, Imperial Knights, legions of the Astra Militarum, even the rare and mysterious tech priest Dominus of Mars herself, all answered her call. And yet something was missing. The wrath of the Emperor, his true wrath. Clad in ceramite and gold, there were no Astartes among them, no angels of death, no Adeptus Astartes to sanctify the crusade, until on the very eve of their departure a figure arrived. Tigranus Dalir, alone, unannounced, a warrior without a chapter, yet unmistakably Astartes. With him came his brothers, newly forged, newly armed, and burning with purpose. They were nameless then, known only by titles whispered in reverence, Dalir's Astartes, the Angels of Death. Dalir swore himself to Gilead's cause. He and his warriors would be the Emperor's vengeance incarnate, the hammer that would shatter the heretic's spine. The crusade rejoiced. Many believed the Emperor himself had blessed them, and when the fleet finally sailed into the black, it did so with the full might of the Imperium at its back, and with his angels at the forefront. Victories came swiftly. The liberation of Anacharsis, the desolation of Minas, the battle of the Nameless Gates. In each, the Nameless chapter was a storm of righteous fury. But none of these victories were judged great enough to warrant a name. Dalir's warriors chose to remain anonymous. They believed the moment would come, a triumph so pure, so decisive, that it would etch their name in history forever. Still, even nameless, they earned respect. And in the wake of each victory, from the ashes of broken cities and the ruins of shrines, the chapter's apothecarian recruited. Not from a single world, but from many. from hive worlds and feudal planets alike, from prisoners and nobles, from heretic-occupied wastelands and freshly liberated cathedrals. The Absolvers' diversity was born in this moment, a patchwork of cultures bound together by purpose, trained in silence, tempered by blood. And when they finally brought the Gilead system to heel, when they broke the grip of chaos and returned the Emperor's justice to these scarred worlds, it was undeniable. His angels had come, but it would not last. Even then, at the height of their triumph, cracks had begun to show. The warriors of the chapter fought too hard, pushed too far, threw themselves into melee when safer tactics would have sufficed. Their bloodlust was growing. The apothecaries began to whisper of strange dreams, of thirst that could not be slaked, of fury that clouded the mind. These were not just battle scars. These were the marks of something darker, the red thirst, the black rage. Curses passed down from their gene father, Sanguinius, noble, beautiful, doomed. The truth became clear. The Absolvers were not immune. Whatever chains they forged through the Codex Astartes, whatever oaths they swore to maintain discipline, the beast within stirred regardless. When it rose, it did so with screams, with silence, with shame. They began to hide it, to bind their broken brothers in the bowels of their ships, to silence the ravings of the maddened. The legacy of their triumph was joined in secret by a legacy of failure. And so the Absolvers stand centuries later as both heroes and sinners, defenders of the Gilead system, unrelenting in their duties, cloaked in honor and myth. But beneath the banners, beneath the sigils, beneath the layers of lacquered plate and gilded vows, they are flawed. They know it, they carry it. They have built a fortress of ritual, of discipline, of silence, not only to keep the enemy out, but to keep the monster within. Their name was earned through victory, but their burden, their shame, has followed them ever since. And still they fight.